to Wembley Stadium, this FA Cup final, Arsenal against Newcastle United. Well, here's the Arsenal side without Dennis Bergkamp, of course, but Christopher Wray, who replaces him, certainly something of an Arsenal talisman. 4 goals this season, 3 of them have been winners, including the one that beat Wolves in the semi-final. Ian Wright on the subs bench, but Mark Overmars is here, the midfield of Mano Petit, Patrick Vieira and Ray Parlour, and behind them that defence that really is second to none. Newcastle had hoped that Keith Gillespie would be fit to cause trouble down the wing, but he's not, and that's a blow. Kenny Dalglish has shaken up the defence a little. Steve Howie comes back. Philip Albert is a sub. It looks as though they'll play 4-4-2. And up front, Timur Kitsbaya of Georgia partners Alan Shearer. A great experience there. And always the Newcastle fans say, when we've got Shearer, we've got a chance. And I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people have been saying. Paul Durkin, the referee, he was telling me in the week, in fact, that the one worry he's got is that if the weather is as it is today, how people are going to keep going. And he'll be very sympathetic indeed to players who want to take some water refreshment by the touchline. I think he's got to be. So here we are, Manninger, Bowl, Platt, Wright and Grimondi for Arsenal. Hislop, Barnes, Watson, Albert and Anderson for Newcastle. So what about this man, Ron? Shearer?
Well, he's the one that putting all the hopes on, isn't he? Pinning all the hopes. They've got good midfield players. They've got a strong looking side, Newcastle, but he's the one that their hopes are on.
So the cup final is underway. Newcastle in those famous stripes, and a touch straight away for the boy from Donegal, Shay Given. Arsenal on an afternoon of brilliant sunshine. We're there looking for the double, just as they did in similar conditions, incidentally, in 1971. Stuart Pearce playing it forward to Ketsbayer. Speed is coming in there, and speed can be a danger. He does make those drifting runs in from the left, gets good positions. His finishing hasn't always been of the best, but who knows, today might be the day. Good jump there from Dabizas.
Brian, I actually think that's the key area in midfield.
Yes. Keown getting it back. And interesting with Ketsbayer up front, because he'll run at people as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, in the early start of the game, he's pushed more or less right up against the back foot. I think as the game happens, he'll drop off a little bit to get the ball to feet and go at Keown or go at Adams.
Right, here's the throw. Pearce with it. Here's Ketsbayer. And now it's an Arsenal throw. Arsenal won both their battles in the Premiership this season. 1-0 up at St James's Park. 3-1 much more recently at Highbury. If memory serves me, Anelka scored a couple of brilliant goals that day. And there is a tremendous amount of pace in this Arsenal attack when they get them going. And here's the first touch for Overmars. Pistone, as we thought, might be the one to challenge him on this side of the field. They switch their fullbacks and Pistone gets in at the expense of a corner there. But that was the work of Overmars, who rifled down that touchline.
I think Kenny Dalglish would be a bit upset Warren Barton wasn't in a better covering position as well. I mean, I would think Barton played there as a front screen.
Overmars with the corner. Newcastle get it away. Overmars again. And if they think he's quick, look at Anelka. Good knock away that time by Dabidas. Vieira towards Parlour on the other side there. Shearer getting in. Dunk to the ground. A foul on Shearer. A free kick. Parlour was the man who committed it. Batty came off Vieira.
I mean, if you look at that trio of Newcastle's in there, Batty, Lee and Speed, I mean, they're good enough to play in anybody's midfield, aren't they? And yet they're facing, for me, what has been the strength of Arsenal, Vieira and Petty. It's
a Newcastle free kick. Stuart Pearce with it. Glancing it in towards Petit. Touched in again by Batty. This time Adams, the great leader at the back for Arsenal, finding Overmars. Overmars challenged by Rob Lee. And on by Warren Barton. Gets it back to Pistoni, and just out of play. It'll be a throw to Arsenal.
Yeah, we saw in that early run of Overmars, you know, Pistoni for me is a very left-footed player, and I just wonder whether if Overmars runs on the outside of him, whether Pistoni's going to be able to deal comfortably with that when he's 1v1.
Ray. Davitas. Like the look of him. Batty. Steve Howie. He's only played twice in the last 10 games. He's had a few troubles with injury, Howie. I guess it's not a gamble. Kenny Dalglish knows what he's doing, but Philip Albert's a good, strong man in that position who's on the substitute bench today. Well, Kenny waspishly this week saying we are, after all, the form team. We've won one and lost one of our last 2 games. Arsenal have lost both of theirs. But
what an interesting point, that, you know, because, I mean, they won the championship on momentum, didn't they? You know,
yes.
they came, and they've just tailed off a little bit, understandably, but you wonder whether they take the form off with them as well. Tell you what, when the play's over there, Brian, by the way, Pistoni's virtually gone in as a double cover to sort of guard against Anelko's pace. I mean,
yes.
It's important that Barton disciplines himself and gets somewhere around Overmars.
Here's Gary Speed, nice little touch. Batty playing it into Ketspire. Ketspire turning it now for Lee. Lee to Pistoni. They'll grow confidence now with this simple sort of passing movement, man to man, doing it well, but then give it away to Arsenal. It's with Overmars again. Davitas trying to stop him. Pistoni's getting in there, and eventually between them they do stop him and get it back to Shea Given. But there's absolutely no doubt about it that Newcastle see Overmars as the man who can ruin their afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, Pistoni has got good pace. I've never always thought he's the best tackler or best defender in the world in 1v1 situations.
Anelka. Foul on him. Free kick for Arsenal. Petit. Ray is there. Dixon has come up on the far side. And in fact, it was Winterburn who spotted his fellow fullback there, but didn't quite get his pass accurately enough. Here's Batty. Ketspire. And Rob Lee caught offside. That's where Rob Lee's at his best, you know. I mean, I think there's been times this year when Rob Lee's played a very sort of safe sitting position. I always thought when they were really flying Newcastle, Lee was making an awful lot of breaks from midfield. I think that's encouraging if he's prepared to run off the back of Petty. Keown, hit long, dealt with quite comfortably by Howie. Stuart Pearce. Good play by Vieira. Winterburn, what a season he's had. That's not the best pass of the season, though. Oh, Pearce with a cut eye. Mind you, anybody who knows Stuart Pearce will know that that is the last thing that will stop him.
Done that shaving this morning.
I think, I mean, naturally he was very disappointed at being left out of Glenn's 30 for the World Cup, but he didn't show it. He's taken it very well. But equally, you can be sure on the back of that, there'll be no more determined man on the field today rather than Stuart Pearce. Hit long again. Parler's going away. This is a good break. Anelka's waiting in the middle. And in the end, Howie had to get across there at the expense of a corner. Great ball, though, and a great run by Parler.
Well, very, very ominous at the beginning. You know how much more pace they appear to have in attacking positions, Arsenal, and maybe the counterparts defensively for Newcastle.
Keown forwards. Vieira, 6-footer forward. And, in fact, Derek Wright coming on to have a look at Stuart Pearce's eye.
I'm surprised in the early period just how much infield Warren Barton's done when he plays on the other side. I would have thought he'd been detailed to say, hey, you stay around the Overmars. When they've got it, when Arsenal have it at the back, get in front of him so they can't play into feet and allow Pistoni to have a little bit of a head start on him. If he gets drawn in field, they'll pop the ball off to Overmars all day.
Still getting some treatment. The referee's not entirely happy. Here comes the corner. It's a nasty in-swinging one, and tipped away well by Shea Given.
I think he's given the foul, Brian. Adams riding on the back of for somebody there, but that's a typical Arsenal corner. They all have a little flurry, and Adams spins right round the back. You know, and they'll have done the homework. They'll know about that, but still a little bit disturbing the fact he got in there.
Given with the free kick for Newcastle. Up goes Keown. And here come Arsenal again. Parlour. Supported there by Ray. The flag was up against Anelka. Davikas. Oh, a bit too casual there.
Good pressing though, isn't it, from Ray?
Yeah.
He bites him, take another touch, go on, one more touch, and presses. And that's a trademark of the opposite.
He's a good player, this man. Greek international. He's only had a couple of months at Newcastle, but he's neat, he tackles well, he's good in the air. He doesn't look about. He doesn't look about.
Talking to most of the Geordies outside, they would say he's been probably their best player over a period.
Up goes Speed, wins it in the air, but here's Petit and Vieira. This is the real engine room of the Arsenal midfield. Petit and Patrick Vieira. Pearce banging it forward. Shearer's up there waiting, but who's there too? Tony Adams. That'll be a terrific battle.
I think it's important Shearer gets a better service than that, though. I mean, his game is as willing as anything. He's got a problem with that. No, it's not sorted.
Now his back pass for a moment embarrassing Given. Speed again, winning it in the air. Here's Ketsbayer. Here's Ketsbayer again. He might get into a shooting position here.
It surprises you. He never seems to be a regular favourite, does he, Ketsbayer? He never really seems to make the starting lineup. But he is a loose cannon, and I can understand why Kenny Dalglish has picked him. He's unpredictable. He can create something out of nothing.
Yeah, Newcastle fans will tell you when he does come on as a sub, he seems to change things around so much.
He certainly altered the shape of St James's Park one day when he kicked hell out of it, didn't he?
He did. Back to Seaman. Winterburn. Adams. The run was made by Parlour, but Pistone wasn't a good ball.
Well, Newcastle leaving, they're trying to defend high up the pitch. And Arsenal have got some very, very good runners. He's made a good break here.
Batty. But made a bad pass.
Just saying, Brian, Arsenal have got some players that will draw people towards the ball and then spin into the space behind them. And for all the sort of close passing game Arsenal have, they're still not, they're still prepared to throw it in long. Turn the defence that way.
Vieira. Trying to float that ball beyond Pistone for the pace of Overmars.
You see, that's the exact situation. I'm sure Dalglish should be doing his head in there. As soon as that ball went out to Pistone, I'd like to see Barton racing and trying to double back on Pistone. You cannot leave your fullback 1v1 against a fellow like him.
There's Barton now. They're trying to get things moving, but it was a poor pass by Gary Speed. And Parlour, but here's Ketsbayer. Oh, but Parlour's taken it on again. Ray's waiting in the middle. Anelka's gone outside him. Charged down by Howie. The flag was up.
A good block there from Howie on Parlour, but Parlour couldn't quite get his feet sorted out because he got Anelka on a great overlap run alongside him. If he can just get it tidy for him here, just checks under his feet, and it just gives Howie enough chance to block it off, offside. I tell you what, if it would have been just ahead of him, he could have just nudged Anelka into a very dangerous position. Arsenal look promising, actually. I thought Newcastle might have started the better of the two teams, but at the moment Arsenal look full of confidence, which you would expect, and they look very assured.
Keown with a good header. Touched on by Ray, but Anelka couldn't pick it up. Pearce. Curling it in again towards Shearer. Tries to get Spire away. He's fractionally offside.
Yeah, but that's the unit, isn't it? That's that back forward. How long they've been going? 200 years as a unit. As soon as the ball was in flight, Shearer's going to flick it on, step up on him.
Chris Ray. Parler. Petit is up there. And well, Rob Lee did a captain's job there in the coolest possible way. Temperature must be something in the 80s down there on the pitch. There is just a bit of breeze at this sort of height.
I mean, that's going to play a major part in the second half, isn't it? Particularly if it's still all square or something like that. It's then who wilts, who makes the best substitution. I mean, you look at substitutes on both sides. They're littered with big players, aren't they?
Speed with the intervention. Arsenal's kick. Both sides with very good attacking options. There's never been a goalless draw, incidentally, in the FA Cup from way back in 1872. Is that tempting Providence? I think there's some good attacking players here. We shall pick up a goal or two, don't worry. Vieira floating it through. Pistoni with a header back, and not a very good one. And a catch. No, he couldn't quite hold on to it, Given. It's provided Arsenal with another corner.
Twice in the last few moments, though, we've seen Petit make breaks from the middle of the field. Once when he pressurised Lee, in that particular instance, when they've given him Pistoni's given an unnecessary corner away.
Omar's again. Deep one, and flicked on by, I think it's probably Anelka who flicked it on.
Was Brian. Yeah, once again, a little bit disturbing if you're in the Newcastle camp. He's flipped it up. This time, Adams has made an early run. He's got him almost side by side. But Anelka's pulled off and got a little touch on.
Given with a kick, his first ever trip to Wembley.
I actually think in this early period, Arsenal are testing the Newcastle backline to its absolute limit. And every time Parler's had a chance to run forward, he's run forward. And obviously, Stuart Pearce has been one of the greats. He's nowhere near as quick as he used to be. And I think that Wenger will have been talking about, go on, test his pace, throw a few behind him, see if his stamina is still as good as it used to be.
His spirit hasn't wavered for a moment. He's getting a little bit involved there.
Well, he'll be playing like that when he's 70. He'll still be getting stuck in, but that old driving, retrieving pace is not there.
Well, Christopher Ray felt the weight of it there. Arsenal get a free kick. Petit and White warming up on the other side. But just as a precaution, no more. Dixon with the free kick, playing it into Keown, and now to Tony Adams. Keown releasing it forward, looking in fact for Anelka, but it falls in the end for Ray. And now here's Parler, shoved off the ball, but no foul by Gary Speed. That's the Newcastle throw. Well, there we are, 90.4 degrees Fahrenheit down on the pitch at the moment. always say, take your holidays when the cup final's on or at the start of the new football season. You're bound to get sunshine then. And
is that why you're packing up, is it?
You've heard. You've rumbled me.
The other thing, of course, is one of the things you say at Wembley, you can't chase the game. You can't go mad and pressure all over the field. It seems to sap, whether it's the energy, whether it's the emotion, whatever it is. And the game has had a fairly high tempo. Players have been trying to pressurise people, particularly in the middle of the field. And, you know, these conditions, that's not going to be easy to maintain during the course of 90 minutes. And I think as they do drop off, the game will get stretched. There'll be more space for the creative players to play.
To be fair, at the moment, there's just that one Overmars run that's quickened the blood a little bit, but nothing much more. Adams playing it in for Petit, taken from behind by the Newcastle captain Rob Lee.
And as soon as he blew Paul Dirk, he knew he could have had a great advantage there on Vieira. Full marks to the ref, though. At least he held his hand up and showed he's almost human.
Vieira, Adams, Vieira. Oh, beautiful play. Eluded those two challenges superbly. Parler picks up Dixon, looks for the return. Ray Parler, Harris trying to keep it in, and just over the top from Anelka, and it was a wonderful chance for Arsenal. That was a great break, and the architect of it was Vieira in the first place.
There's some super football emanates in this. Parler sticks it in, and all right, he's coming in a bit first, but in a match of this magnitude, that's a sitter. All started, O'Brien, high up the field when I think it was Batty, and I think it was Ketspar went chasing against Adams, and he picked them off with a little ball into Vieira.
And Newcastle at the moment just can't get going. Anelka, you talk about Overmars' pace. Well, if anything, Anelka's ahead of him. But he couldn't stop that going in. It's a Newcastle throw. And they are playing second fiddle at the moment.
Well, I think Newcastle have had 3 anxious moments already. The 2 headers from the crosses, albeit one was a foul, and that was a glorious chance. And sometimes, you know, when you sit on the bench and see chances missed against you, you think, I wonder, is it our day? You know, there's some given time, Shearer will get a chance, won't he? Or Ketspire. But at the moment, it's certainly Arsenal. Arsenal are very, very impressive for me. Very composed, they look the business.
Here's Keown.
And I think this is where Newcastle have got to be patient. I think they've got to say, all right, you can have possession there. We can't chase your back players, but we've got to make sure your midfield players and your strikers don't get good possession.
Just as they've done here. Petit. And Elka's after it. Ray's in there too. Terrific work by Stuart Pearce. Now Vieira, the next wave of Arsenal attacks. Winterburn, Petit, Vieira. No, bad ball. Straight to Stuart Pearce. He's got Ketspire to support him. Here's Batty. Ketspire. Up towards speed. Gets it back to Ketspire. Batty again. Pearce. Shearer. Trying what he can find on the far side. Gets shoved to the ground. And look at the rangy run of Vieira here. And Anelka taking it on. Vieira's gone into the box. Overmars is in there too. But Warren Barton will hook it away for Newcastle United. Halfway through the first half, 0-0. Petit to Tony Adams. Petit knocking it forward. Overmars, has he got in behind Pistone? Overmars! 1-0!
I mean, this is a lovely through ball. It's been threatening. That terrible marking for Pistone. He's marking on the outside. They've allowed a lot of space behind for a player who's one of the quickest in the world. And to be fair, all right, it has a little bit of touch of luck when he just makes the keeper shea given. But that's great play on the Arsenal's point of view. Terrible defending there. Ball watching, wrong position. I mean, you know a man like Overmars is a threat. Wherever the ball is, you mark him. But they've been threatening to do that all match, Brian. Just sticking balls in and turning the Newcastle defence.
And we said almost at the start, is this the man to ruin Newcastle's afternoon? Well, his pace got the better of Pistone. It wasn't the greatest of shots, but he finished in the back of the net, and Arsenal are leading 1-0.
To be fair to him, you know, he's quite brave as well, because Gibbon was coming out like a...
And here's Overmars again, Ron. And Anelka's after him as well, and Anelka's got the rush. Well, there was a shove in the back on Davies' free kick.
I'll tell you what, Davies was looking the other side. He didn't see Anelka coming in like flying.
Howie to Pearce. And now they look even more towards Shearer. Batty. Goals this season for Overmars now. What a terrific contribution. And he's played in every cup tie that Arsenal have played. Batty to Lee.
You'd have to say that was an unusual for an Italian defender to be marking that far adrift on one of the accepted danger men, though, wouldn't you?
You would. Pistone, Batty. Lee. Barton. Back in again. Parlour there. But Batty can pick it up, and Shearer's waiting in there. Ketspires on the far side, but he couldn't quite keep it in. Goal kick. Well, he's delighted, the Arsenal fans, and as Ron was saying, Pistone caught badly there, and as Given came out, Overmars finished the job superbly.
Yeah, very, very impressed. You know all about his pace, you know all about his feet, but he showed a lot of courage there. He could well have ended up on the end of Gibbon's boot there.
Good jump by Howie. Here's Shearer. He's hardly been in it so far. How he must regret the absence of Keith Gillespie. Gillespie injured, of course, and the man who provides this fellow Alan Shearer with just that right sort of service from the crosses, as Gillespie did so brilliantly on ITV earlier this season for Tino Asprilla in that wonderful game against Barcelona. But that sort of width is missing from Newcastle this afternoon. And as the ball goes into touch again.
I've been watching Batty as well, you know. I think that he's got to get himself more disciplined in terms of his position. He seems as if he's drifting everywhere to try and receive the ball from his own back players, and yet he's giving Petty and Vieira plenty of space to play in. For me, that should be his first problem. It should be to win that battle.
Howie gets it back. Gibbons plays it forward. Finds Batty. Davies. Pistone. Inside again. He's played a good ball there. Lee. Speed trying to get to it. Winterburn's there first for Arsenal. And here come the champions again. Dixon. The ball played nicely up to Ray. Vieira. They're buzzing at the moment, Arsenal.
I think you made the comment there, Brian. Champions, and they're playing like it. They've come out like champions, and they're playing like champions for me.
Winterburn. Cut out that time by Warren Barton.
And I must admit, I've actually had a fancy like yourself that Newcastle might sneak it, might win it. At the moment, there's not a suggestion of that, is there?
Not really at the moment.
There's a long old way to go.
Yes, we're not even at the half-hour mark yet. And with Shearer, you've always got a chance. Here's Pistone. Shearer chasing this, but Adams... Well, for once, Adams didn't complete the job, and Shearer bangs it in again. It comes for Ketspire. It comes for Ketspire. It's a shot that stings the hands of David Seaman, but no more than that. But there was the warning, and there's the suggestion that Newcastle aren't by any means out of this cup final.
I must admit, it's a big, deep cross, skims off his head, takes it in one, and on another day, you know, that could have gone well wide of Seaman. But the two best, or the two only efforts at the moment, have both come from Ketspire. He's shown he's not reluctant if he's in with shooting shooting range to have a pop at goal. Yeah, the one that narrowly went by the post, and that wasn't a bad effort.
Adams.
The other important thing is, Brian, this next goal, if there is another goal, it's so important, isn't it? If it's Arsenal, you could see them romping in the sun, couldn't you, second half?
Harry's header.
If it's Newcastle, who knows?
Fatigue winning that in the air and gets it again. What a powerful man he is. Trying to get Ray away there. Parler tries to come in, challenged by Barton. A free kick to Newcastle. Warren Barton, who was, I think he's an Islington boy, an Arsenal lad in a way, and in fact trained there for a couple of years before he went to Maidstone and then on to Wimbledon and eventually to Newcastle.
Didn't he go to Newcastle in preference to Arsenal? There was a lot of talk about him joining Arsenal at the time.
Well, he was a Kevin Keegan signing. I think it was something like a record, something like 4 million for a fullback.
Yeah.
Pistone. Oh, it's his 100th match today. But so far not a happy one. Howie getting it out to Ketspire. Speed. Knocked off the ball there. Won't come through to Shearer either. And a squad of red shirts come flying forward again. And look at the pace of Anelka again. That's incredible pace by Nicholas Anelka. And that was total optimism.
What you said about that, Brian? Look at this. He makes up the ground here. It's like there's a treading water and going backwards at the moment. As you say, a little bit more composure, but 4 marks, the kid. What is he, 19?
Winterberg.
He is a player.
Spartan. Shearer coming a little deeper to get into this game a bit more. And Speed just caught offside. Slightly better timing on his part, and that could have been a very interesting situation. And he's dangerous.
Yeah, he's actually stood in
drifted.
If you're going to get through their offside trap from midfield, it's got to be on a run. You can't be stood in there. They'll step on you all day. They know the business. That's the difference, I think, in the two back fours. One is a very good organised unit in terms of to give ground at the back and when to step. I think at the moment, for whatever reason, I think Newcastle are playing a little bit of odds and sods and swordsmans there.
The thing that surprised me a bit, Ron, is that Ketspire seems to be playing wide on the left and Shearer is the only one up, and here he is now. But now he's got some support from Ketspire and Lee on the far side, but Lee Dixon.
Yeah, I think he just basically he goes where he fancies Ketspire. He's one of those loose cannons, and at the moment I'd have to say probably Newcastle's best bet.
Batty to Pistone. In comes Winterberg. Batty again. Anelka challenged rather crudely from behind that time by Dabitas. Howie. Two cup finals between these two great old clubs, both won by Newcastle. Anelka, one in 1932 with the ball that did it cross the line or didn't it, and in 1952 when Wally Barnes was injured, there were no substitutes in those days, and George Robledo, the Chilean, won it for Newcastle just before the end. Well, in this third cup final between the two, Arsenal at the moment have the ascendancy. Well, he's a scientific, very calm man is Arsene Wenger, a man who sticks to his principles, one of which was that Anelka probably wasn't worth his place, they said, but he stuck with him, and here's Overmars.
Done well there, Robert Lee. He dressed the situation brilliantly, gave the ball away in a very dangerous position, and he's managed, like it, as you say, like a captain to...
and a brave challenge there by Lou.
Yeah,
a brave challenge there.
But I thought midfield would be the key area, and certainly at the moment you'd have to say that the trio, if you count it, you don't really count Overmars, he's a flying machine down the flank, but the trio of Arsenal players is actually on top of the Newcastle
Parla, Vieira and Petit.
Parla, Vieira and Petit, yeah. Plus that. Overmars a little bit of an auxiliary player, tucks back in if necessary, but he's the one that carries the fight down the flank.
Well, it's Manu Petit with the free kick, or will he leave it to Nigel Winterburn? And here is Winterburn. Petit. Pierce with the trusty left boot, getting it away. Keown with a flick header there for Adams. Adams, great captain, leads from the front. Very much in the style, actually, when you look back to 1971 and Arsenal's double year of Frank McClintock. And the great side managed by Bertie Mee.
I think Alan Shearer might have a point there. I think it was a free kick.
Anelka again. Look at his pace. Oh, the whistle's gone. It'll bring him back. There's a foul on Davitas.
They are leaving a lot of grass behind them at the moment, Newcastle. There's a little bit of a grapple. I thought he was a bit lucky to get a free kick there, Davitas.
Pistone. Barton's well forward. Winterburn gets it clear. Arsenal still leading by Mark Overmars' goal. Ketspire. Here's speed. Ketspire, Batty, flicking the ball through, not good enough for Lee, as Overmars doing his work at the back as well.
I'm just saying he's a winger, but look at the way he tucks in and helps, and he's took a clatter off the ball.
He's taken a clatter, yeah. Batty again. Ketspire. And now Lee. Here's Pistone. Barton. Throw to Newcastle. Barton, an overhead. Where will this go? Towards Shearer, just over his head. And here comes Parla now for Arsenal. The ball is hit long. Given has spotted it well. Came to the edge of his box and he needed to.
Akers again, you know, I mean, Ray Parla, to be fair, if he just angles the ball and drops it in the corner of the field, nobody will live with an Anelka. And the two centre-halves are playing right square on with each other, the two Newcastle centre-halves. Neither's given any sort of insurance to the other.
Batty. Harry. That'll be a Newcastle throw, yes. Overmars has still got a little bit of a problem after the challenge of a couple of minutes ago. But he's done his damage already. But here comes Stuart Pearce with one of those howitzers. A real long-range effort. Plays it to speed, chested down by him. Batty's shot, well wide. And you talk about the Newcastle defence with a lot of grass behind them. Tell me what you will tell the viewers. What should they be doing, Newcastle, then?
I think that they've got to try and make Arsenal play in front of them. They've got to try and have Anelka and Ray have the ball in their feet. They're inviting them to play right against them, right on the shoulder. And anything, even if it's not a great ball, and let's be fair, Arsenal can knock great balls with their quality. Even if it's not a great ball, if it goes in behind them, they're never ever going to catch Anelka. Ray's quick, and you know what Overmars is like this. So I think that they've got to drop it, maybe even defend deeper, and say, go on, make them have it into feet. Right, we know Anelka's still a tidy player with the ball at his feet, but at least it's the worst. It's the worst of two options is to let them have it behind you. You know, they've been disrupted as well. I think, you know, they've probably been used to playing more with a 3 and Pistone playing on the left, galloping down the left-hand side. I mean, there's not been a cross, has there, come in from Newcastle's left yet. Because basically, I mean, Stuart Pearce isn't going to make up the ground on that side. And you mentioned about Ketspire going out there. You know, I'm sure if the little Irishman was playing on the right wing, then this fellow Pistone would be on his more natural side. And
Yes.
It may well be a 3-man defence would suit them a little bit better.
Batty.
But I know one famous commentator that always used to say it only takes a second.
That's right.
And there's only one goal to diff at the moment.
That's right. Barton. In goes Winterburn. Pearce. Shearer. That's a free kick. That's a free kick. The foul by Keown. And it's, I guess, 8 to 10 yards outside the Arsenal penalty area. I don't know whether it's Stuart Pearce territory or not. It might
Shearer,
well be.
I think, right.
Or Shearer.
It's a right-footed ball, I would guess. Although you never know with Pearce, he can blatter them from anywhere, couldn't he?
Well, it looks as though he wants to say. Kitspire's there too.
I think it'll be Shearer.
Yeah, I think it will.
Maybe go, well, I don't know. It depends how much room Seaman leaves on his right hand. But he has scored. Did he score his first goal for Newcastle from here?
Well, it's either Shearer or Pearce. But it's going to be something like 28 yards. It's Shearer. Too high. I guess he's a bit frustrated at the moment too, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You don't blame him for having to go at that. He wants to get it up and down quickly, but and that's his first look at goal, isn't it? You know, if you're a striker, particularly one that scores as many as he does, he hasn't had any sort of a chance. He hasn't had a crumb to feed off, and that's, you know, that's something you'd be looking for.
Here's Bach. Should come towards half-time. Newcastle looking for a decisive break that brings them back into this game. Pistone, Lee, a bit of space ahead of him. Speed has come to this side as well. Pistone, that cross is far too close. Well, it's behind the goal in any case.
Last few minutes, few more signs that Newcastle have sort of, whether Arsenal have put an awful lot in it and just stepping off the gas a little bit, and Newcastle are coming and having their time, but they've just started to get into the game a little bit.
Without any great conviction, to be honest.
No, I mean, Seaman, apart from the Ketspire shots, has had a comparatively easy match. Well, he's had ever such an easy match.
Harris header, looking it towards Pearce, but left him a little bit stranded. And Parler playing it in now for Ray. And Ray with a shot was too high.
That's the only criticism of Arsenal at all today. I mean, I think they've been excellent in the first half, but maybe they've frittered one or two little things. I mean, good control. Probably in keeping with the rest of the game, that should have been on target.
Notice there are water bottles all around the ground, but although we say it's 90 degrees, none of the players have actually, as far as I can see, have availed themselves of it.
I'll tell you what I think has happened. There's quite a nice cooling breeze,
Yes.
isn't it? It certainly is up here, isn't it?
Winterburn. Petit. Adams away. Warren Barton. 2.5 minutes to half time. There's been some good stuff, but it hasn't as yet been the spectacle that so many of us thought.
No, I think that's due to the fact Arsenal have looked. I think Arsenal have played well. I had a feeling they might not perform on the day, but they've been excellent. All right, they're having a little breather now, I think, and letting Newcastle back, having a look at their half of the field. But in terms of composure and control and belief, they've looked excellent.
Avizas gets it back to Given. Keown.
I've got to be honest, if I was Kenny, I would certainly consider playing with a third man in the centre. Somebody to just ensure, either bring Stuart Pearce in a bit narrower, switch Pistone back to his natural position. And if he's worried at all about, which you've got to be about the left-hand side, maybe even switch Robert Lee to the right-hand side of midfield, with half looking after Overmars and half looking to block Winterburn getting out.
Good play here by Lee. Oh, and he found Warren Barton, but Barton slipped at the crucial moment, and here comes Vieira. And here come Arsenal again. Ray blocked well, though. And here's Pistone. Will keep it going for Newcastle now. Barton, though, challenged by Ray, beaten by Petit. And away goes Overmars again. Dabizas is trying to get across him. And Nelka's in the middle. Ray Parlour wants it as well, and it's over the top.
Another glaring example. They just had a let-off just before this that Davidas had won a challenge on Ray, which could have put Overmars through. As Overmars runs, sets the ball up. That's not an easy shot to hit, but the way they're playing Arsenal, that should have made the keeper work. But I mean, as soon as they lost possession, you think the alarm bells would go and think, oh no, Overmars is free. Somebody get across there and button it down.
Adams, a big up and under, and it'll go straight through, I think, to Shea Gibbon.
But even that, you know, with people of the pace they've got, if that's on an angle and not running onto the keeper, that will give them a chance. That's always a fighting ball or a chance of ball for them.
Batty, Pistone. Dabizas up towards Shearer. Not really the sort of ball Shearer wants. He's complaining that Adams was all over him.
I think he's got a case, Brian. That's the second time. I mean, Tony Adams is just making sure that Shearer doesn't get onto it.
Adams, I think, was sent off last season at Newcastle.
Yeah, I think he's got a genuine case.
Or a foul on Shearer.
That's the second time. As I say, Adams has he's jumped, but not with an intention of heading it, but making sure your other man doesn't get it.
That long ball again, and it might put them in trouble. No, Dabizas got there just in time, but Parlour's trying to keep it going. Pearce. And Ketspire then. Well, they're claiming some elbows. At least Keown is. Referee Paul Durkin just going around to clear things up, and Ketspire's all right. Now, were there elbows there, Ron?
Doesn't look like elbows. It looks as if he's caught him with his sort of forearm. He's sort of thrown him to the ground, but I don't think it's one of those that could split anything. They've got the foul. That's the right decision.
Playing time added on at the end of 45 minutes. It's Adams being chased by Shearer, and Shearer putting Adams to the ground, and the referee has put his hand in his pocket, and Shearer is going to get a yellow card. Yellow card for Shearer. What about that, Ron?
I think it's a bit of afters from the other. I think that's a genuine competition. We have to accept, I mean, without going into the things that Leicester do, we have to accept that Shearer will chase lost causes, and sometimes if you're a little bit short on it, you're going to make contact with people. I don't deliberately think that he went to do him there.
But I think also it was conditioned by what had gone before.
Yeah, I think it's after. A little bit of after.
Well, there's the half-time. It's not been a bad first half for Arsenal. They played well. Mark Overmars' goal after 23 minutes is what divides the sides. And it was Petit playing it in here. And it was a lovely ball. And Pistone just couldn't get to grips with Overmars. And there it is, finishing in the back of the Newcastle net. It's still to come. Remember the analysis from Ruud Gullit and from Glenn Hoddle, and your chance to win the prize of a lifetime. That's after the break.
Welcome back to Wembley Stadium, where it's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0 after 45 minutes. Ruud Gullit and Glenn Hoddle are with me. An overview of this first half, Ruud.
I think that first 15 minutes Newcastle wanted to be physical, and then later on they get into shape, but I think tactically they have only one strike in Newcastle. So
Shearer.
Yeah, and Kisbay plays on Dixon on the left side, and every time when Newcastle has the ball, yeah, there's only one striker, so they have to kick it forward, and the ball comes back again, and they try to put the whole team around, just back from the midfield, from the middle line. But you know, you give them so much space to play. Adams, Keown, and then Vieira gets the ball, and then all the time they try to press also a little bit. So every time they ball, the goal that Arsenal made was a good example of that. They had all the space, get the ball over it.
Well, that's right. There's speed that Newcastle have, but the speed right throughout the Arsenal side, Glenn.
It's a great move from Arsenal. It's the first time in the game that there's been any sort of controlled football, and we've got past 4 or 5 passes. And you can see them being, it's a super ball from Petty. And there he is, over Mars, who's not really known for his strength, but he shrugged off Bastoni, and he's finished tremendously well. But the move was an excellent move where they kept the ball.
The Dutchman's done well.
But it is easy. Look, before that, Adams had the ball, Petit had the ball. They could easily just knock the ball to each other, no pressure at all. So they could just, you know, pick one player. And also, if you then try to push up as a defender,
it's a great ball from Petit as well. He's played some great balls this season.
But,
forward,
yeah.
You know,
but the pace that we talked about, I mean, that's evident with young Anelka as well, Glenn. I mean, he's a young kid. I mean, the pace that came from Ray Parlour in this move.
They can't live with Anelka's pace or Overmars' pace, and this is what's causing Newcastle all sorts of trouble. And again, a nice little move from Arsenal. Parlour's pace, he's put a change of pace in his game now, and really Anelka should finish this off. I mean, that is food and drink to a striker of that quality and at this level.
I think that there's too much difference in quality, especially when they're on the ball. I think that Newcastle is dangerous more for themselves when they have the ball. That says already enough. And so they kick the ball away, and they.
Only one chance of the first half, and it wasn't really a chance. Kisbay, Rudy. I mean, it was
it came
small fair, wasn't it?
It was a chance, but it came again from the left side. You know, he has to support more Shearer, but I think his assignment was to play from the left side.
Yes.
And Shearer is on his own. He's frustrated, and you can see that the last tackle he made on Adams is pure frustration because he's on his own.
Yes.
Here comes the cross, and okay, he comes from the left. You know, it's a good ball, but it's you know, it's not really the chance that they're waiting for. And the first cross also from the game.
Yeah, it's straight at Seaman as well, and let's face it, for 45 minutes that's the best they've offered, Newcastle.
Yes.
And they've got a problem. They've got a problem. At half-time, Kenny's got a problem, and he's either got to change the shape of his team, or he's got to change.
Do you expect him to do that?
Or he's going to change the personnel. And if he doesn't, I said I'd like to have seen him play with 3 at the back to begin with. They would have given more options. Yeah,
Overmars' pace again. Ray Parlour should have scored. We said Anelka should have scored. Parlour should have scored as well, Rudy, here.
You know, it was, you know, they can pick it out. It doesn't matter. You know, they have more quality on the ball. Of course, it's not an easy ball to hit. But, you know, it's a great chance. It's just wait for the second goal of Arsenal. And it's a pity for the game that the quality is such a difference, you know, from one side to the other.
Yeah.
I think the point as well, Bob, is that they've got so much pace, but now they're 1-0 up. They can hit Newcastle on the counter.
Okay, thanks for the moment, gents. Arsenal's first half then, the cup still very much to be won. But now the first part of our glorious 12th competition on offer, the sporting day of a lifetime for 2 on July the 12th. The British Grand Prix plus the World Cup final. Live coverage of both events, of course, only on ITV. You fly with us by helicopter across the channel and you enjoy the action from the best seats in the house. 4 questions to answer over the weeks ahead. Now, these are the programmes in which we'll be running the competition. The Champions League final this coming Wednesday. The Monaco Grand Prix next weekend, and the Canadian Grand Prix in 3 weeks' time. Now, the questions will all be connected with the British Grand Prix or the World Cup finals. So here we go. Which Italian player missed the penalty kick? So, the questions: which Italian player missed the penalty kick in the 1994 final, which meant that Brazil once more became world champions? Was it A, Paolo Maldini, B, Roberto Baggio, C, Nicola Berti? Well, the next question will be in our Champions League programme on Wednesday. A great match in prospect between Juventus and Real Madrid. Entry details will follow after we've given you all 4 questions. Details on teletext page 127. But 2 of world football's greatest names in Amsterdam and 2 of English football's biggest clubs are currently engaged here at Wembley. No doubt using this 15-minute half-time break to sort a few things out, particularly Newcastle. It's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. Can Kenny Dalglish sort things out for the Magpies? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back. It's Arsenal who are ahead here at Wembley after 45 minutes. 1-0 the score. Mark Overmars the scorer. And Glenn, in view of recent events, just tell me what you thought about the Shearer booking, because it was another little incident. Which, does it show his frustration or what?
No, I think it was frustration off the back of the decision that went against him. But that for me is a booking, no more, no less. Nothing malicious. He's tried to play the ball. He's got there a little bit late. And at the end of the day, it was a good decision by the referee. But I think you'll find it was a bit of frustration. He didn't get the free kick on the edge of the box from Tony Adams, and it was just how it panned out.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm going to have to jump in there, because Dennis Bergkamp's down in the tunnel there. He's with Gary Newbon.
Dennis Bergkamp, obviously good to be leading 1-0, but what do Arsenal think of the first half overall?
Well, I think overall we had a very nervous start. You could see that on both sides. But after the first 10-15 minutes, we started to control the game, I think. And yeah, good finish of Mark Overmars, so we're confident now.
But you've missed some other chances. Could have done with your finishing on 1 or 2 occasions.
Well, I think again it's a great atmosphere, of course, and you start to be a bit nervous in those situations. But yeah, they've done well to lead 1-0 and hopefully get another one.
How hot is it for the players out there?
Well, it's hot on the bench already, so it's amazing that they keep it up, but they're doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the commentary box with Ron Atkinson and me, Brian Moore. He's having a great day in right, great character. And a wonderful guy to have in a camp, actually. He keeps everybody going. And I've no doubt his manager is well aware of his capabilities should he need him from the bench. We have a look around, and in fact, both sides, no changes at half-time. Does that surprise you, Ron?
I think they'll leave it, particularly Newcastle. They'll probably have a look at it for 10 minutes or so, but I think he'll have to make changes, even altering the shape of the side.
So here comes the second half. Ketspire still away on this left flank, with Shearer very much the lone man up front, looking for support from the Ketspires and the Speeds, Rob Lees and so on of this world. Stoney, a deflection into the path of Robert Lee. Batty's gone forward for him. He hasn't changed the personnel. I'll ask Ron in a moment if he thinks he's changed the shape of the side. Here's Pistone well forward, looking for a good cross, and the young Italian failing dismally to provide it.
Yeah, he's certainly not as comfortable on the right-hand side. I mean, he's been given a marking job there because he's got pace, and they probably think he could run with Overmars. But they're losing something in terms of carrying the fight. And for me, I think there's got to be a change with Pistone. I think he's either got to come across and play on his left-hand side, and they've got to say, all right, somebody else has got to deal with Overmars, be it Watson on the bench or be it Barton. He's offside there. There he is, living on the shoulder. If he'd have been a yard short of that, he'd have caught that. And there's nothing Newcastle could have done about it.
Well, he was offside. Wouldn't argue with that linesman's decision. Here's Winterburn. Petit. Winterburn. Well, he's shown too much of that. And Lee just getting it across, but ever reliable Tony Adams is there again. Now here's Batty, who's available now. Pistone hasn't had the best of days, and that in a way sums up Newcastle's day so far.
Plus the fact he's only a young lad, isn't he?
That's right.
You might say Vieira's only young, and Anelka, but you know, they've been stilled and they've had a great season, so their confidence is high. Pistone's facing one of the most dangerous players in the league. He's having to play in I know he's played on the right-hand side a few times, but he's not, for me, as comfortable there as I've seen him in other positions.
He's still only 22. But here's Vieira. And Vieira is still only 21. What a formidable figure. Here's Ray. Here's Vieira. Oh, it falls for Shearer. He's got Barton up alone with him. It's a lone furrow for Alan Shearer here. And he was dogged all the way by a combination of Winterburn and Vieira. And here come Arsenal again with Petit. Parla. And Elka's made the run. He's offside.
Oh, I tell you what, and Parla's just realised if he looks the other way, Overmars is running through a high inside left position completely unmarked.
Batty for Newcastle.
I mean, all right, you can be critical of Newcastle's backline and defending, but yeah, you still have to say the pace and movement of the Arsenal players, I think, is superb.
Here's Dabizas.
That's a risk ball.
That is a very dangerous ball.
See, Arsenal are good. Arsenal are good at that. They'll invite the ball to go to the wide defender, and then they press while it's in flight. They've done it a few times with Pistone. Overmars has done it.
Petit over Mars. Petit.
Oh.
Now Barton caught him there, and Barton's going to get the yellow card.
He's done a little pirouette there, and he's caught him with his... Petit's been in the wars recently, hasn't he, with the bang he got in the last game against Everton. See, there was a first-class incident just before then when Petit received it, you know. If instead of turning back, he'd have just knocked it down the side into that particular area now, Anelka would have run the defence there for fun.
There's Anelka. Overmars couldn't collect. Barton couldn't collect. But Davitas can bring it away. Got some support from Robert Lee. Lee's done well, and Pistone coming up on the outside now. And away come Newcastle this time, but look at Vieira, those long legs and that great stride. And Adams, will let it go over? For what? Goal kick.
No, that should have been a corner.
Should have been a corner. In fact, I think he's given a free kick, isn't he? David Seaman with it. Davitas, Vieira, Anelka, Parla. Here's Dixon. Ketspire coming back. Free kick. Foul by Ketspire. A free kick for Arsenal. Dangerous position. Petit will take it. Anelka right, Overmars, Vieira, Adams now coming up for it.
Is this the one Adams has spin to the back? He hasn't arrived yet. He's just about to get to that secondary position.
He's looked for him, but he hasn't quite found him. Good spot one. And it comes now for Shearer. But he's a long, long way from home. And Winterburn will go into the book for the foul on Alan Shearer. Johnson left his leg there. I don't know how much contact
I don't even think he made contact. And the ball was a million miles away.
Vieira.
I think he's very unlucky there, Winterburn.
Ray. Parlo's made a break. Petit's made a break. Now Pistone. Arsenal continue to make the running, but there's still just that single goal, and all things are possible here at Wembley. Foul by Barton. Arsenal's free kick.
He certainly can't afford to be arguing a minute after being booked. I mean, that's the last thing Newcastle can do with.
Winterburn. Oh, straight to Batty. Barton. Pistone comes back to Barton again. Riding their luck at the moment. Howie.
You'd probably say if there's a noticeable difference, it's possibly a greater sense of urgency from Newcastle.
They've stepped the pace up a bit, haven't
Yeah,
they?
but Arsenal themselves are making a lot of unforced errors. Or certainly more than they did in the whole of the first half.
Pierce gets by. Dabitas. Gets by again. Oh, just got the ball through to David Batty. And there's his long cross in. Seaman with it. Got it, lost it. Barton's foot was up, but there was no contact. Crowd, I think, made it worse than it was, but there was no problem there.
Now, a bit sloppy there, goalkeeper, didn't he?
Lovely touch by Overmars. Parler, yes, Ron. Parler. Yellow card for Dabitas.
I've got a feeling if they're not careful, we're going to see a repeat of the Kevin Moran thing here, you know.
The only player to be sent off in a Wembley Cup final, Kevin Moran, 1985. You were pretty close to the action there, weren't you?
Not as close as Peter Reid.
The referee.
No, Peter Reid was the fellow who went flying.
Oh, right.
Somebody said Reedy was one-on-one.
Oh, right. Here's Overmars. Batty will bring it away. They're looking for free kicks.
Yeah, there has been a little bit of theatrical about one or two of these off.
He's offside, well offside. Caught by Shearer.
I think that's what Shearer lacks, you know. He lacks somebody that can play a cunning ball, somebody like
John Barnes.
You know what? You've read the script there, haven't you? You just wonder whether he could have come on and fiddled about on the left-hand side. You know, obviously he's not going to run all day, but he might just play the one pass that gets Shearer in.
Here's Lee. Rob Lee forward to Barton. Here's Pistone. Gets the ball in. It came a long way there to Batty. Batty playing it again for Barton. Barton obviously felt that was a handball by Tony Adams. Well, will there be a place for John Barnes in this game yet? His 5th cup final. Free kick. Newcastle fans getting behind their team now, looking for the breakthrough. But not from this. Goal kick.
Yeah, they've certainly had more territory this half than they had in the first half, Newcastle, but without really offering a real threat. And you wonder whether Arsenal saying, hey.
Sir John Hall on the right there, next to His Royal Highness, Newcastle chairman, telling me in the week that he can't bear to watch his side play when the going gets tough. He slips away from his private box at St James's Park, but there really is no hiding place here at Wembley in the Royal Box.
I was going to say, if he didn't make it today, I know plenty of people at Gallagher would have had his ticket.
Exactly. Missed kick by Dixon. But it's a throw to Arsenal. Such an imperious figure, 21 years old, and his ball just a little too far ahead of him.
But that is the sort of service I think Shearer would need. I mean, that's an overhit ball, not enough dye in it, but you know, I'm sure Shearer would welcome somebody that could just stick the ball up alongside and say, go on, instead of having fighting balls like he's having at the moment.
Free kick again to Arsenal, the foul on Overmars. Understand Winterburn's got a little bit of an ankle problem, and Gremondi is warming up. Overmars. Parler. Still Parler. But Ketspire comes in, gets the ball forward to Shearer, and Shearer's had a dreadful service.
I tell you what, you just look at him, you have to admire him, don't you? I mean, it's been said many times, but he's got so much in his locker in terms of power.
And also that enforced break that he had for the first part of the season up to January. His batteries are still charging well now. Duffy always used to say it's often a blessing in disguise if a player gets a serious injury early on in the season. When you come to the matches you really have to win at the end of the season, you know, his appetite is full. and I'm sure that's the case with Shearer.
To be fair, I don't remember too many Clough's players missing matches. All seemed to be playing when we were playing.
It was a good field. Here's Steve Howe. And there is something a little more about Newcastle now, Ron.
I'm just wondering. Sorry, Brian.
They're not making their chances, but they are.
Whether Arsenal put too much into, not too much, but put a lot into the first half, and have maybe gone to either tiredness or a little bit of cruise control at the moment. Or whether they're saying, hey, we're not going to overstretch, we're not going to overcommit, we'll have a little look at the thing, we're winning 1-0, we've got a double in our pocket if we keep going.
Speed to Shearer. Oh, he's gone past that. No, he hasn't.
No, that is a booking. That should be a booking, that. You can say you're clumsy or whatever there, but Shearer's left him for dead there, Tony.
I think Newcastle begin to sense there might be something here for them. Plenty forward. Steve Howe is right in the middle of the penalty area for this one. Speed has made those little runs of his, and it's Keown who emerges with the clearance.
Yeah, they're playing a bit of stretch now, aren't they? It was once or twice when there were sloppy passes just after half-time, and you know they haven't had quite the continuity they had in the first half.
The long ball towards Gary Speed. Goal kick.
I'll tell you what I don't think we've mentioned. I mean, you talk about cup finals, atmosphere and something. It's been a long time since I can remember an atmosphere like this at a cup final. The crowd are into it, and all right, it's not a classic of a game, but the crowd is certainly very responsive, isn't it?
Seaman with the kick. Parler not making the header. Katzbauer, Batty. Now this could be a Batty situation. He'll relish the fight for this in this situation. Adams ducking in there. Seaman knowing what to expect.
You know, the pendulum could swing. You're talking about whether Newcastle should be making changes. I'm wondering whether Arsene Wenger's possibly thinking about Ian Wright. The lad Ray seems to have just faded from the scene a little bit, you know.
It would certainly have crossed his mind. It certainly would have crossed his mind. Dixon with the throw. Parler. Anelka couldn't pick it up. Ray couldn't get there in time. Newcastle's throw. So Gary Speed down there clapping his hands and looking at people around him and urging them now, for this is the time to make a really big effort for Newcastle. Chasing, Keown is there, and that is such a formidable Arsenal defence. Up goes Katzbauer, but Adams gets there first. Falls for Shearer, nobody there.
They're certainly blocking in a lot more, aren't they? And although Shearer's still the lone striker, they're managing at least to get more people into the other half of the field.
There's Andreas Andersson warming up on the far side for Newcastle. Pearce. I think David Platt might be coming on. Now, Shearer played into Batty. This looks better again for Newcastle. Lee. Good break by Lee. Batty couldn't pick it up, but Newcastle get a free kick.
Times have changed in this day. Years ago, Stuart Pearce would have been there already in this position.
Well, he's getting across there now.
But they're very untidy at the moment, Arsenal. Complete contrast to the first half when they were composed and strong and professional.
Well, Stuart Pearce
has also moved that forward about 5 yards as well. It'll be a penalty before he takes it. But
Paul Durkin was too quick for that. But we've seen him over the years. He's hit some stormers from this sort of range. Stuart Pearce against the Arsenal wall, against David Seaman, to bring this back to level terms, but he hits it into the wall, and Arsenal maybe have a chance to break. No, good play there by Lee.
And that's another free kick. The foul on Davitas by Tony Adams.
Well, you can't make too many complaints about that. Davitas has done him for pace. All of a sudden, you could get a right dramatic swing round, couldn't you?
Well, we've been saying for most of the second half that there is a new look about Newcastle United in their attitude. So the free kick floated in, and wow! And it was Davitas who won the free kick in the first place, who was so close. He scored once with a header for Newcastle since he arrived from Olympiacos in March, and just off the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous ball from Lee. As you say, out climbs the Crouch in and hits the top of the bar.
Newcastle are back in this game, and as Christopher Ray goes off, David Pratt comes on.
I would think he's not going to play as an out-and-out front player, Platty. I should think he's just going to drop off the front and try and arrest a bit of possession for them.
But does that show an anxiety on the part of Arsene Wenger?
I think he won't be happy the way they've started off. They haven't started off well at all. Whether it's untidiness, whether there's a little bit of something from Newcastle driving the game forward. But Ray has been out the game. Ray hasn't done much in the second half. He seemed to have faded from the scene completely.
Davitas with the header. Petit. Davitas again.
It actually looks as if Platt's going to play on the right-hand side of the midfield, and Parler's going to move in one.
Pearce banging it forward towards Shearer, but Winterburn is there. He seems to be moving okay now. Oh, Vieira. The jump beat Patty. Well, the bounce rather beat Patty. Howie battling away with Vieira. Forced into a dangerous area, but Vieira's exuberance got the better of him. And it'll be a free kick to Newcastle United.
Oh, that is blatant, isn't it? And totally unnecessary.
And we hear from Gary Newbon on the bench that Kenny Dalglish has just told Ketspire to get well forward to play right alongside Alan Shearer. And Shearer's on his own. Shearer now. Oh, against the post. Newcastle are having no luck at all. That's Davitas against the post with a header, and now Shearer against the post with a terrific shot. A chance that came out of nowhere, and Newcastle were within, well, a lick of paint of being level.
Well, it came basically because Keown was sloppy. Dwelt on the ball, stumbled on it against one of the best strikers in the world. Though I must admit, when he shaped up, I didn't really fancy Shearer from there on his left side, but that was a superb strike.
And now Platt for Arsenal.
And there used to be a saying years ago, lucky Arsenal, and that's something you'd subscribe to in the last few minutes.
Overmars on the far side. And Shearer gave us an example of his true world-class work there.
Yeah, look
it
at
was a chance out of nothing. His strength.
Yeah, desire, accuracy, seaming nowhere. I mean, that's a magnificent effort, and Keown probably can't believe his luck. But the Arsenal have been very, very sloppy this half.
Ketspire. Davitas. Pistone hit forward. Shearer versus Adams. Adams wins that one, but they still get the ball forward to Shearer. That was a great little intervention by David Batty. But here Arsenal. Ray Parler, the Romford boy. Anelka, and Parler's gone on, and Parler will be... No, he can't, because Davitas got there first. Good play. Ketspire, it's really warming up now. Here's Winterburn wanting a share of the action. Taking on Pistone. Still taking on Pistone, and the little chip! Just too high. Winterburn's never scored in an FA Cup time for Arsenal in all his 11 years there. And here we see the Keown mistake. Picked up by Shearer.
Look at the desire, look at the drive, look at the strength.
And look at that bit of bad luck for Newcastle. Batty. This is a game now, Ron.
Oh, it's a game. And all of a sudden, I'm looking around and thinking, come on, this fella, where's he been this half?
Overmars. Being well watched by Lee.
He's been the spark in the second half, Lee.
Yeah,
Lee carried the fight straight after half-time, won a few balls, drove behind the Winterburn area, if you like, and all of a sudden I think a lot of these, that's a captain's job, a lot of people have picked up from him.
And perhaps Ian Wright soon to make his appearance.
And the only thing is you find it hard now to figure where he might play. I mean, I can't believe he might bring an Elka up, but I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, Overmars is...
And Elka's pace still frightens him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Winterburn. And here is Anelka. Gabizas. Pistone keeping it in. Here comes Patty. Just listen to the Newcastle fans again. Up to Shearer. Now Speed. Oh, he's gone past 2. Can he keep it going? Still with Gary Speed. Knocking it back to his captain. Finding Pistone. Arsenal pulled everybody back. Howie. Try their luck on this side now. Pearce. But Keown was there. Gabbitas playing it in again. Winterburn. Slack piece of play. Cut out again by Newcastle. Batty can't keep it going though, and Winterburn with a safer ball that time. But Newcastle will still keep it in play and keep possession.
It's almost as if somebody switched the lights off, hasn't it, with Arsenal? I can't remember a time they've put 3 or 4 passes together, and they've had possibilities of playing that ball in behind the Newcastle defence, and they haven't executed it well.
Vieira, still only a goal in it. Parla, and now Anelka off. Oh no, his flag stays down. It's Anelka. It's a goal! 2-0.
Brian.
That settles it. That settles it.
I wonder here, Brian. I wonder. You almost called it. This will be an interesting playback. This. You almost called it in commentary whether he was offside, wouldn't you?
Well, there was a degree of suspicion about the offside, but the linesman kept the flag down, and Nicholas Anelka made absolutely sure.
Great finish. Terrific finish. I thought he should have gone on, but he hit it across the keeper brilliantly. But I'd love to see this from the side. My first reaction was he was offside, and I'm still not convinced he wasn't. But that's a super finish.
19 years old, his 9th goal of the season, and he'll never score a more important one. Just when Newcastle looked to be getting their way back into the game, and might still, here's Gary Speed. Been forced wide. Ketspire with the cross. Seaman with the punch, trying to fist it away.
Unless you're from North London, I don't think anyone would begrudge Newcastle a goal, a lifeline to try and get back into the game.
Here's Parla. Oh, here's Parla. Here's Parla with a great run, and Howie might well have to go. No, he's got a yellow card.
Yeah, I mean, he's driving there. He's one of the players that hadn't picked up after half-time. Now, all of a sudden, he was driving, as you say, benefit of the doubt time for the player from the referee.
I thought there was going to be a red card there, but Howie got... I'm glad there wasn't, because I hate seeing people sent off, particularly in cup finals, and the referee decided that punishment was enough. And they're 2 down as it is. It could become 3 as Arsenal now look for this free kick. Petit. Flat's gone right through into the 6-yard area. Vieira's making a little run as well. Newcastle will need to have their eyes everywhere. It's Petit, and it's just over.
Yeah, they're playing that cat and mouse game, wasn't it? Batty's gone on the line. Flat's gone right up against him where he feels he. Batty then comes out and says, "I'll try and catch you offside." Meanwhile, it's a bit confusing for the goalkeeper.
Is he offside? Well, in our caption at the top there, actually, he looks as though he might be level.
Yeah,
he looks as though he might be level.
Still need to see it more from the side, but.
Batty, hit long. Shearer's got enormous work to do now. to repeating their double triumph of 1971. Double teams of the last century, a great Tottenham side of Danny Blanch's flower in 61, Arsenal 71, Liverpool 86. Kenny Dalglish would have known all about that. And Manchester United in 94 and 96. And Andreas Andersson, the Swedish striker, coming on and taking off Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, that looks like Pistone will come on this side of the field. Barton back to right, full back. And then Anderson right up alongside Shearer.
So with 17 minutes left, Newcastle need to make inroads on this Arsenal lead very, very quickly indeed. Only Manchester United have won the double twice, and Arsenal are now, a little over a quarter of an hour from equaling that. Here's Ray Parlour, and there's space for him, and there are willing teammates outside him. David Platt here. Yes, he tried to play the ball in again for Parlour. It came off a Newcastle player for a corner. Petit will take it. Anelka, scorer of the second goal. And Rob Lee ducking in to get that away quite comfortably for Newcastle. And here's Anderson with the number 40 on his back. How often have we seen that at Wembley, I wonder? And no doubt he will be designated a place right alongside Shearer up front. He's a young player, but he's got all the pace to him as well, Anderson. And if the heat has taken some of the strength from the Arsenal defence, who knows, he might yet do something. Here's Davitas. Here's Gary Speed. Poor ball, not likely to reach Shearer. Parlour. He's grown stronger as this game's gone on. And his pass to Anelka is a good one here, but Anelka will leave too easy a job really in the end for Steve Howie. Parlour's leapt into form in this last quarter of an hour or so.
Oh yeah, I thought first half was excellent. Second half, after they came back, I thought he's got a bit sloppy, but as you say, he's all of a sudden started to drive at the game again.
Something around £3 million, which is a far cry from the first final here in 1923, when the take at the gate was £27,000. Here's Overmars. Barton. Well, Barton's already been booked. He's brought him down there.
I think it's a safe bet. If he hadn't been booked, I think he'd have gone in again. I think that's a sympathy vote. What was that first final like, Brian, you were talking about?
What are you going to say when I'm gone, eh?
You'll never be gone, Laura.
It's Winterburn with the free kick. Petit. Anelka, just look at that little flash of pace, pulling the back over. Okay.
Could have been the villain of the piece, couldn't he, with the sitter he missed early on?
Yeah, true.
Persevered, and I mean, showed there. I mean, that was a great finish. You know, whether it was on or whether it was offside, it was marginal, whichever way, but still, it still took some finishing.
There's Batty. There's a long ball towards Shearer. Shearer gets there with his head. He is so good in the air, but Tony Adams sweeping up. Newcastle got a throw. And the clock ticks on. And they're taking Warren Barton off now. Steve Watson, the lad from North Shields, is coming on.
Yeah, I think that's sensible as well, you know. Barton's had one or two hairy moments with challenges already on sudden death with his booking, and nobody will want to try and change the game more than this kid.
Speed. Nice touch getting past Vieira. Shearer. And Watson gets his first touch. In a Newcastle supporter all his life, played for them when he was but a 16-year-old, and here he is again on the ball now, playing for them in a final. Well, that was a huge challenge there by Winterburn, and here's Anelka again, and Given has come way out of his goal.
Isn't that a lovely feeling, though? All that space to run into. If you're a midfield player, go on, stand it in there, and we've got the quickest man in the world after us. Or seems to be the quickest man anyway.
What an incredible season for this splendid manager, Arsene Wenger. Frenchman, so shrewd and scientific, and the players say incredibly calm even under the greatest pressure. Well, there'll be tears on the paintwork, I guess, by the end of the day. But certainly Newcastle are fighting still for all they're worth. But it's with Manu Petit. Overmars couldn't get to it. Anelka.
It's funny, they've paid no special attention to Overmars this half, and he hasn't really. I know that's tempting fate. He hasn't really been in the game.
Ketspire gives it away. Chris Platt. And Harry is totally in command. Speed.
Had a cup of tea with his parents, Gary Speed, before the game, you know, and I mean, let's see this one through.
See what happens to Anderson here.
They were saying whatever happens, they hope he has a better time. Remember, he came and played in the League Cup final for Leeds against the Villa.
Oh, that's right.
Played as a left-sided wing-back and didn't do particularly well, or the team didn't do well.
Here's the cross, but no good to Shearer. It's the one thing that really, above all, has been lacking in Newcastle this afternoon. They just haven't got down the flanks. They haven't got any sort of service to Shearer, particularly in terms of crossing.
In actual fact, the best crosses have come from Shearer himself.
That's right.
No, he's a good player, but it's a hell of a job trying to knock him in and getting the end of them yourself.
And Arsenal look just in total command now. Here's Overmars. Inside the last 10 minutes. When you think how Arsene Wenger completely recast this Arsenal side, Ron, you know, at the start of the tail end of last season, the start of this one, has produced a side that played not only good football, but terrific teamwork with him and a wonderful spirit within the club from all accounts.
Yeah, he's done very, very well.
Here's Pistone.
There's somebody was saying to me, you know, he never raises his voice in the dressing room. I thought, oh no, but I bet if you've got the likes of Adams and Winterburn and that in the dressing room, I bet you the hardest job trying to get peace and quiet. But they do play in a good way, don't they? I mean, they play in a way that if they're reinforced during the summer, which they probably will be, you know, I think they won't do bad in Europe either.
Watson doing well there. Ketspire, no, given away again. A chance for Arsenal to break. And they've got the pace of Anelka up there and the long legs of Vieira. But he's, oh yes.
I tell you what, he was standing upside Anelka. Yeah. The amazing thing was, I think Vieira could have caught that himself, because they died the Newcastle backline. They just given the ghost up there.
Batty. Lee. Shearer. Still Shearer.
Oh, I'd have loved to have seen that one go in. I'd have loved to have seen that, you know, so we've got that. I know the Arsenal people wouldn't for the closing 10 minutes or so. I'd have loved to see it go to 2-1.
Here's Batty. Bit of space for Rob Lee. Couldn't make most of it. Adams was there. Rob Lee is still battling though, but Arsenal get it away to Parler. And now to Platt, who's got fresh legs. And now to Anelka, who's got the swiftest of legs. And he takes on Pistone, and he's got past Pistone. And Parler hammers the ball over the top.
There can be a disadvantage of being as quick as Anelka, you know. He runs so far away. The lads have to burst blood vessels to catch up with him. Look at that. There's an overdrive, a bit of turbo there. Shrugs the Italian boy off. Nice little turn inside. Sets once again. Should have been on target, but that's a hard chance for Parler.
Now Vieira again. Here's Parler. And what's Anderson doing right back there? Winterburn. He's got Overmars outside him. And Overmars, that's even stretching his capabilities. Who seems to have been everywhere this afternoon, and his game has grown in strength as Arsenal have.
I'll tell you what, the big lad's not done so well second half. Vieira, I mean, I think he's arguably, with Roy Keane, probably the best midfield player in the Premiership. He's not done so well in the second half there.
Here's Pistone. Banged away. And can Shearer do something here? No, because Winterburn had got back there when Shearer had pulled his finger on the trigger, but somehow the shot didn't fire out because Winterburn had got there first and it went behind for the corner.
I think your first reaction is he's offside, but that could be tackle of the season, that. Shearer, that was a goal, wasn't it? As soon as he started to pull up, he thought, well, this is 2-1.
Away, and Shearer has a shot charge down. Steve Watson's looking to get something in here. The whistle's gone for a free kick, and it'll be a free kick to Newcastle, and Shearer might fancy something from this range.
The good and the bad there of Vieira. He made a great block on Shearer's volley, and then trips Watson up when Watson's trying to gain an advantage. I'm biased. I'd love them to score here. Make a great finish.
Gary Speed behind it. Well, I think
there's your man. There's the man.
Fire's going off. And John Barnes. John Barnes is on.
Could he get in time to take this free kick?
Well, why not? I think Shearer probably's got his eyes on this one, though. But I don't know whether Barnes can work magic in 5 minutes. But at any rate, it's Shearer, and he's, well, not far wide. I'll tell you what, a yard inside that post, I doubt that David Seaman would have got there.
I think he would have cannoned off the wall, to be fair, if it had been on target. I mean, the wall was lying. I was looking to see whether the wall had actually jumped up, you know. You know, a lot of the walls jump up now to try and give height. Drill one underneath.
Into Platt. Anelka's chasing. Here's Parler. Dixon. Here's Parler. Oh, he's done well here, but he's done well here, Parler. Oh! Well, Pistone claims that he was having his shirt tugged, but Parler
Made an irresistible run through there and just into the side netting.
That would have been a great finish to what's been an exceptionally good season for Ray Parlour.
Pistone. Batty. Anderson. Davizas. Anderson. Can Newcastle still find a way out of the jungle? No. That's when you think, though, they hit the woodwork twice. Davizas header and Shearer's shot.
All at the big time, by the way, wasn't it?
The Archbishop of Canterbury there would be very happy indeed as an Arsenal fan. Still look of concern on Arsene Wenger's face, but I guess with less than a couple of minutes to go, he shouldn't really worry too much. Oh, my word! That was nearly one of Wembley's extraordinary goals there. Fully 50 yards or more, and Overmars spotting that Given was that little bit off his line. He hit it superbly.
Oh, he didn't half drill it. I mean, my first reaction when he got possession was, is he going to flip this over the top to put an Elka in again?
Watson.
I think that's lazy, you know. Don't run with it, just bash it.
Here's Anderson. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's got a finish to him, has he? Oh! Just was fraction wide from Gary Speed.
They must be asking themselves why. You know, I know the game changes from the situation 1-0 down, but they've certainly, if they'd maybe driven the game like this in the first half, they may not have been looking down the barrel at half time.
Correct.
I mean, I think maybe they may have been paying too much attention to what Arsenal were doing and trying to, instead of saying, all right, let's drive our own game. It's actually touch and go now. Who's had the better chances?
You're right again. And on another day, Newcastle might have had 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
Rob Lee. Shearer still chasing. Still battling against all the odds there, whatever anybody may feel about him. And gets a corner for Newcastle now. But we're coming to the last seconds of the 90 minutes. Is going for this one. Speed will turn it back. Watson playing it in again. But here's Vieira. Batty. Lee. But again, Arsenal will shut the door.
I tell you what, Brian, we said that we were frightened at the beginning about the heat and everything. What about the tempo of the game?
It's been wonderful, hasn't it?
It hasn't been the most technically, the most thrilling, whatever, in terms of that, although there's been plenty of incidents. But in terms of drive and people's commitment, you know, in this weather, tremendous, particularly at the end of a long season for both sides.
And there's a lucky punter somewhere, a Ladbrokes punter who had won 60,000 quid on Chelsea winning the Cup Winners' Cup, put it all, or rather 30,000 quid, put it all on Arsenal winning here today. And if they do, he picks up 120,000 quid.
And what will you spend it on?
And it looks very much as though Arsenal are just about home now. Do you think Ramondi may come on? Well, first, will Overmars have something to do here? A good, forceful header back by Davizas. Kept his cool. Gets the ball back again. Plays it up once more to Lee. A chip forward now. Again to the willing Shearer. Speed. Still with Speed. Still looking for Shearer, but that time Keown got there. And there goes the final whistle. Arsenal have completed the double. Only the second club ever, Manchester United were the first to do a double-double. First in 1971 and now in 1998. Mark Overmars started it with that goal after 23 minutes. And
And Nicholas Anelka sealed it for good and all with that thundering goal in the second half. Newcastle, well, they didn't do themselves justice in the first half, but they battled out superbly in the second, hit the woodwork twice, had chances, and on another day might well have made 2 or 3 goals themselves. But it's Arsenal who go into the record books, and for once it's Kenny Dalglish who couldn't find a way to find a winning side here at Wembley. The Arsenal fans celebrate. Previous winners in 1993, they're here again 5 years later, and Tony Adams picks it up again. He's captained Arsenal to 6 trophies now. 7 with this, 3 in the league, 1 in the FA Cup, 1 in the League Cup, 1 in the Cup Winners' Cup, and now he makes it 2 in the FA Cup. Good team performance.
Oh, excellent. I mean, they had that stutter after half-time when I honestly think they got casual and complacent. And added to the fact that Newcastle drove and realised that might be their opportunity. Lady looked smart on them, certainly. Took a couple of shots at the woodwork. They just couldn't, Newcastle just couldn't force an equaliser, and then all of a sudden, that man there in Elka shows his pace, his class. He sealed the game.
Out in the final, but did so much for Arsenal in this season of triumph. And what's important now for him, of course, is that he is fit for Holland in the World Cup. Let's hope too this man is fully fit and raring to go for England in the World Cup. And he certainly battled hard today, without the rewards, hitting the post once. Let's talk to Mark Overmars, who's with Gary Newborn.
Congratulations, Arsenal do the double again, but looking back, that goal was so important in view of what happened in the second half.
Yeah, it's easy for us if we score a faster goal, and it's easier to play. And then the second half, because the weather was so hot today, then the power it was such the game. It needs so much power of you. So second half we scored 2-0. It's over.
This Arsenal side has grown and grown so much. What does the double mean to you as a Dutchman playing in England?
That's where you can dream of. It's in your first year, first season, and it's such a big 2 prizes. It's amazing.
Okay, and what about Newcastle? I mean, Shearer had that great chance, hit the post.
Yeah, it hit the post. You saw it. We get a little bit tired in the second half, and then you get a lot of space, and they had one shot on the post, but it was not enough.
Well done. You're an FA Cup hero today.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Well done.
It was certainly the Overmars goal that got things going, and the tradition here at Wembley now that the losers go up first, those long 39 steps, and for a loser it must seem like 139. They've tried so hard after a season of turmoil to bring something for their fans at the end of it, but that just wasn't happening. But if you look at the Newcastle fans now, they are applauding their side right up those 39 steps to the Royal Box, and the manager too. They are the most fantastic fans.
I also think, Brian, they appreciate the fact that they didn't lie down and die. That was the worst possible scenario just before half-time. They came out, they drove the game, and on another day might have salvaged something.
So the losers' medals come from His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, to the captain Rob Lee. Good influence. Warren Barton behind him, Steve Howe, the centre-back. And what a gutsy performance by Alan Shearer. The keeper, Shay Gibbon, who had no chance with the two. A loser again, sadly, for poor Stuart Pearce, as he was in 1991 with Nottingham Forest here against Tottenham. Gary Speed, a loser again at Wembley. The local boy, Steve Watson, didn't make it. John Barnes just got a short taste of it, but no more. I wonder, the first Greek there, Davizas, and Kenny Dalglish too. And deep in their hearts, no doubt, they say to themselves,
here comes the FA Cup, by the way. Already with this red and white ribbons on. That's always a last-minute thing that they do. The FA around the back of the Royal Box. And there it is. That's the 4th cup, replacing one that had been going actually for 90 years, back in 1992, an absolute replica of the old one. A cup that means so much to every player that plays for it. Well, this just wraps up the most fantastic season for Arsenal. When they won the championship in such terrific style with a performance in the second half of the season. They laboured actually in the FA Cup with something like 3 replays and 2 penalty shootouts, but they had great mental strength and they survived it all. They've survived it here today. They survived the 39 steps, led once again by Tony Adams. It's a familiar route for him, the captain of Arsenal since he was a mere 21-year-old. And now, of course, Newcastle go into the Cup Winners' Cup in any case. Arsenal in the Champions League as champions. Big smiles. And the Cup, once again, returns to North London with Arsenal's Tony Adams. The 7th time they've won it, and applause for Arsenal, let it be reported, from all the Newcastle fans here. There's a great picture of all the Newcastle fans who are applauding Arsenal almost as much as their own fans, and really it's been that sort of occasion on the day.
And I tell you what, Mauro, you have done it credit. It's been a great game, a tremendous atmosphere. Well done, Paul. You were brilliant.
Thank you, Ron. It's been a wonderful day to be here. Martin Keown.
What I forgot to add was that I'm sure all the viewers of ITV wish you a happy retirement.
Oh, thank you, Ron.
But what they don't want is you to retire.
Thank you for that.
You will be back.
Well, it's been great working with you, my friend, anyhow. And this has been one of the great afternoons, not least for men like Mark Overmars and Ian Wright. Ray Parlour, who Ron Atkinson regarded as the man of the match. Ray Parlour, incidentally. The French connection. Anna Petit, Patrick Vieira, Gilles Gremondi just gone away. The man who didn't play. The footballer of the year and the man who managed a double winning side, Arsene Wenger. So a triumphant scene as Arsenal take the cup for the 7th time. We take a short break.
David Seaman, Tony Adams. First of all, Tony, congratulations, the double.
It's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a super day.
But it was hard work today for you.
Yeah, it's obviously sad for the Newcastle supporters and team. You know, they've come, look at them, they're still cheering. It's unfortunate there's got to be losers, but it's our day today. So.
Well, this team has come some way since December, hasn't it?
Yeah, I got back in the side.
Well, what part has Arsene Wenger played as far as you're concerned?
He's very calming influence on the boys, you know. He's got his feet on the ground, and let Dave have a word.
Okay, just let me ask one thing before I go to David. I mean, it's been a terrific year for you personally as well, Tony. I mean, you put your act together.
I'm only part of the team.
On a personal basis, you've done very well.
They've been fantastic. Nigel Winterburn, all the boys are exceptional. It's Arsenal's day today, not mine.
Okay,
I'm just part of it.
Well done, Tony. David Seaman, you've seen it all, but now you've got the double. I mean, what an achievement for the club.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I hope, Bob, you're watching, mate, because we've done it. It was a great picture in the dressing room, but I've done it, mate.
Yeah, that's
great, really.
Yeah. There was a nasty moment for you when Shearer hit the post, though.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hoping I had it covered, but no, I was nowhere near it. But you know, it wasn't their day.
Well, nice to see David Seaman there. Seems a long time, 27 years ago, since I was able to be part of a similar day. But I guess Arsenal, in the end, you felt deserving.
Oh, yeah, all over the game. Totally deserved it.
When you say all the game, Newcastle made a terrific game of it second half.
Yeah, I think they changed tactically a little bit in the second half. They put Burton a little bit more forward on the right, so they put more pressure on them. The strange thing was, when they were in the game better, Arsenal scored a goal.
Yeah. Newcastle, the unlucky part, came in a 6-minute spell, Glenn.
Yeah, then a bit of a spell where they've hit the bar and they've hit the post and then Shearer's chance, but overall Arsenal with a bit of sign. But this is what Cup won. It's your day, that goes in the top corner when it's your day, and Arsenal had a bit of rub of the green here. Terrible mistake from Martin Keown, and the best chance that Newcastle have had has been given to them rather than created. Allen's sort of hit the target, you expect him to score from there. I think the spinner's just taken that ball away and hit the post.
Wonderful strike, wasn't it?
It was a great strike, but you know, that's the sort of finish that you normally see him hit the back of the net.
You were admiring the strike of young Nicholas Anelka that really finished it, tied it up, Ruud.
Oh, yeah, if you see his first touch, that is the one who does the business. And I think also from here, it's not offside, he's just level. I think here, look, here is even before him. So, and here, good touch, second touch even better. So, it's a perfect strike. From a striker's point of view, he done everything perfect. And that is something that I admire. Also, Shearer, he had one chance, and he was near there. On target, all the time.
Okay, well, we're going to talk again in a couple of moments, but we're going to get more reaction after we take another short break. Well, these are the scenes at Wembley. The 1998 FA Cup final's been won by Arsenal. It's ended 2-0 here at Wembley, but we can hear from the Newcastle manager, Kenny Dalglish, with Gary.
Kenny, the level of disappointment is obvious, but what was your assessment of the final?
I think they were better in the first half, but the second half we get a lot more in here. Push forward a little bit. Hit the bar and hit the post at 1-0. If we get a goal there, I think we could have gone on and won it because I thought they were tired. The guys gave us everything they had. They had a very good side, and I think the response to their supporters at time up it's quite unique. It's the first time I've seen both sets of fans think that they've both been winners on the day. So they were grateful for the effort shown by the players, but unfortunately we couldn't get them a silverware.
I know it's the oldest question in the Cup final book, but what did you say to the players at half-time to bring about that improvement?
No, sometimes one team has the best in the first half, sometimes your own team gets the better in the second half. They're good players, and we just believe it. We're good players, and we'll do a bit better. I think in the second half we just had a wee bit more belief in themselves.
Kenny, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Bad luck, Kenny, but we can hear now from the winning manager, from the Arsenal manager, the Frenchman Arsene Wenger.
Arsene Wenger, first of all, congratulations, you win the double. I mean, that is a fantastic achievement in your first full season.
Yes, I couldn't even dream of that at the beginning of the season, but it slowly we came into a good run, and after we just went from game to game. I must say as well, we're sometimes a little bit lucky in the Cup, especially at West Ham, but we had the great spirit, and we have shown it again today.
Well, you certainly got on top in the first half, but the second half was a bit sweaty for you when Shearer hit the post.
There was Newcastle was unlucky today because when we were 1-0 up, the turning point in the second half was when Martin Keown slided away and Shearer hit the post, and straight after 5 minutes later we scored the second goal. But it was a real cup game, and in the second half we didn't play enough and protected too much the score.
Well, now you can relax. It's been a hard season, very successful season. Congratulations.
It was a fantastic season, and but a stressful one, yes.
Have a rest. Thank you very much indeed.
Like they wanted.
Yes, well done, Arsene Wenger. Glenn Hoddle, you know that man so well. You told us about him before the game.
Absolutely delighted for him, Bob. You know, to do the double in his first full season is incredible, an incredible feat, and delighted for him because he's a close friend of mine, and it's great to see him do so well. Pleased for David Dean and everyone else involved in Arsenal Football Club because they've deserved it this year. They really have.
Rudy, it was you out there 12 months ago. While we're looking at the Arsenal celebrations, you were actually expressing a little concern about Newcastle for next season.
Yeah, of course. If I see what they have as a team in quality, then I am very concerned. I spend a lot of money, and I don't know what I'm going to do next year. Effort is not enough nowadays anymore. You need to have players who can play from the back, who can have technique. If you see Tony Adams now, from maybe 5-6 years ago and not playing now, he can play the ball, can play it in, he supports. It's a lot better than he did before. So that's what Newcastle needs.
Yeah. Just tell us about, Manchester United were the first club in this country to do the double-double. Arsenal have done it. They're both in the Champions League next season, Glenn.
I think that's going to give us a great opportunity to do well in that competition. We've got Arsenal and Manchester United now in it. Two very strong clubs, two clubs that are striving to become better clubs, better teams in Europe. And I think we're capable of doing very well next year.
Do you think the same, Ruud?
I think the same. If you see, they've done already well in the last couple of years. If you've seen Chelsea has won the cup also in Europe, and Manchester United has been very nearby, and I think now with Arsenal, I think they become only better. So I think we have 3-4 teams maybe who can do very well next year in the European Cups.
Well, I've really enjoyed having your company this afternoon. Ruud, great to have you on board. Glenn, great. Good luck obviously in France. So there we are. Arsenal have added the FA Cup to their Premiership title, but let's not forget Newcastle, who did hit the woodwork twice in a 2-minute spell in the second half. An amazing first season for the Frenchman, Arsene Wenger. It's a double-double for the North London club from all of us at ITV Sport. Goodbye.